is it too disruptive to talk about a third party or an independent party, or is that like that's dead in the water? It's not going to happen.
Canada has 5 parties. Great
Yeah.
Britain has 5 parties. Sweden has 9 parties. Czech Republic has like 8 parties in
It
parliament.
doesn't solve anything.
So, I mean, this is nonsense. Here's the thing. First of all, people need to get this through their heads that despite this kind of like conservative propaganda, this is not a country where a majority of people want freedom. Okay? We saw this during COVID. If this was a country where people had freedom as their highest value, even like a significant block of the population, they could not have gotten away with half of the bullshit that they got away with, regardless of whether you think it was appropriate or not. So if there are people out there who are so quote unquote crazy that they don't care if other people get sick, my freedom comes first. If there's enough of them, politicians would have no choice to follow suit, right? And there was none of that. So it's so this kind of belief in this system that like we're just going to have to vote harder or vote for this third party, that third party is never going to get enough of a vote to make the difference because, again, first of all, the population doesn't have enough of that as an interest, but also the politicians have as we talked about earlier, have virtually no interest in decreasing their power. Because also it's harder for them to get reelected because what are they going to say? Now I have less money to return to bases in this district and help you out. So it's really kind of a system that is designed to only go in one direction.
Yeah, so libertarianism is just...
But there's no libertarian majority in this country, and there's not even even if there were, there's so many roadblocks to make sure that can't really be effectively implemented.
And the same with the independent party. So because RFK is polling high, but I still think...
let's suppose tomorrow RFK becomes president, right? You have 51 Democrats in the Senate. You have 217, as of right now, Republicans in the House. How many of them are going to vote for any kind of significant budget cuts, right? And even if there are budget cuts, it's still going to get us to like last year. Like the budget is growing at such a high rate that there's no kind of space to cut it to anything close to what people regard as small government.
So you talk about national divorce. You coined that, correct?
No, I don't think I coined it, but I started
it?
the whole conversation, with that article.
Okay, so we if we were to do that, is it kind of like Europe? We look like Europe. Each state kind of has all of its own rights. It's like the ultimate states' rights, and there is no...
Well, Europe is moving in the other direction. They all share currency, so you certainly wouldn't
you need shared currency or no?
No, it's a divorce. How would you have shared currency?
Kind of like how you still have the borders. So you have like, how you would have Spain, England, France, etc. But
they don't have borders. They have the Schengen Agreement, which means I can go from Spain to France without having to show my passport.
That's
once
true.
you're in there, you have free motion. So there's like once Texas becomes independent again, you're not coming here from California. It's not happening. So
do you think that's the first step? Is that Texas secedes, and then everyone else is like, oh, this is a possibility?
I don't know what would be what would pop it off. It's the kind of thing where you don't see it coming ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that would look like, but I do think it was the kind of thing that would escalate very quickly.
So,
but the thing is, it's not gonna happen this year, because everyone in politics now sees it's as good as versus evil. So we have to beat the other guy. So everyone's really committed to this election. So I think the talk of national divorce will only bubble up again come after November. Because right now, literally 90% of people, or 100% of people that care about who are like political animals, like we can't let this other guy win.
Because the world will end.
Yeah, the world will end. Yeah.
Same trope.
Yeah.
So if you were to redo a constitution, I guess the question is, would you pick one and just kind of make edits, or you're starting over entirely?
There's no...
I guess the Constitution, making a document to run a sovereign country.
No document can bind the hands of lawyers. The lawyer's entire job is to say, you see here it says no law shall be made. Well, they don't really mean low law. They mean no law of this kind. Like we're told explicitly that the most important kind of speech under the First Amendment to be protected is political speech. Yet that was the first kind of speech that was made a felony under John Adams, our second president. The ink under the Constitution wasn't even dry, and they were locking up journalists for criticizing the government. So that's another kind of, ahistorical myth that like the First Amendment is primarily about free speech. There's no asterisk It says free speech, shall not be abridged. But you have 200 years of people being like, well, you can't mail novels that are obscene. It just come in complete contravention of the First Amendment. So there's nothing you can put in writing that's going to bind the power of a class of people who are intent on furthering their power, because they're the ones who would be binding themselves.
So then what maintains peace and a cohesive community?
Guns and a culture of people who are interested in being strong assets to their communities. And I think you see a lot of that to some extent in America in different pockets.